The new card evolution update just dropped. I pushed up to 112 in the world, and I'm going to show you how I did it in the best deck for the Barbarian evolutions. I am using this deck right here, Classic Lava. I did sub in arrows. We'll go over that in the video. Today I'm going to show you my best games using the Barbarian evolution. So the first game against Juicy J, he was running this weird RG deck. It's the most popular after the RG evolution as far as top ladder goes. You'll see it around as well. It's a little weird like Arrows Rage type deck. It's meant to do well against the Hog Firecracker deck. That is the current best deck in the meta. I'll have a video on that very soon as well. We played this game live on my Twitch. That's why I'm showing replays. I just want to go over why I did the plays I did. We were live on my Twitch. Link is in the description. We currently stream on Twitch every single day, and the streams are bangers, especially if you want to learn lavaloon. So please, if you want to support me, check that out. But yeah, so we've got Mighty Miner coming in. The biggest thing against any Mighty Miner deck, and any deck with E-Barbs or Prince or Mini P.E.K.K.A. stuff that pressures you, never go Lava when your opponent has a pressure card. So multiple times you're going to see that I choose not to go Lava because Juicy J or my opponent has the ability to just go Mighty Miner at the bridge. So the biggest thing, usually you want to get a tombstone before you lava. If you can't, because you need to save your tombstone for something, you need to have the barbs in your hand before you go lava. As you can see, Juicy J has Mighty Miner ready to go, and I do not have barbs, so I choose to cycle a zap here. And basically, it's still looking risky. I go Skeleton Dragons, and I know that my evolved Barbarians are going to be the only good counter I have to his RG. So I decide to arrows and cycle a tombstone so that I can save my evolved barbs for his RG, which I think was a really, really good play there. So he's forced to go evolved RG in the back. Clearly he wasn't expecting that play from me, and the arrows aren't a necessity in this matchup, so that's why I could afford to throw arrows over there. Obviously, if your opponent's got like minion horde or something, you can't just throw your arrows away, but I could because that was a good situation for me. So nothing he can do about the evolved barbs. He decided to do a weird E-Wiz that doesn't really do anything for him. No hits because the evolved barbs are so cool. Dude, they just shred things. Look at them. They shred the E-Giant too. And I decided to go in because my opponent, Juicy J, does not have a good cycle. However, the Mighty Miner bomb is still bugged, and it does do twice as much damage as it normally does. So everybody using Mighty Miner is getting carried right now because the card is literally broken. It's doing 708 damage instead of 444 for whatever reason. If you know why, please let me know in the comments, but it's just broken right now. He decides to go RG in the back. I just do this because RG in the back is terrible versus me. You literally just throw away your pressure and let me build up a big push, which is a horrible play. He goes E-Wiz. Unsurprisingly, the broken Mighty Miner just kills my Mega Minion and deals a lot of damage to the balloons. That was kind of frustrating. But by forcing him to play defense, he's not able to back up this RG, so it only gets 2 shots on the tower, which is really good for us. And then he decides to just E-Wiz the other lane. So I hit him with a good game, and I hit him with the question mark because I don't know why he threw his E-Wizard in the other lane. He just let me get a free balloon hit and end the game. So W's versus Juicy J. Running arrows didn't seem to hurt this matchup, and as you will see, it is better versus Firecracker. So we've got Senjis here, and the interesting part about this, oh my god, please don't give me a bunch of Xera notifications. Please, 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 please stop. Okay. So basically, the interesting thing about the interesting thing about this, I'm sorry, is that he has E-Wiz, Inferno, Poison, Ram Rider. Very tough to break through. So you're going to see us play some really good Clash Royale. We went Barbs on the Ram Rider. It's a pretty simple play, you know, just not giving up a Ram Rider damage. He goes Mega Knight, good play, because now I had to waste the Barbs on his Mega Knight, which is unfortunate, but we had to. I go Mega Minion like this, just to sort of try and cycle and get back to my tombstone so I can stop this Mega Knight. I go Skelly Dregs up here just so they could kill the E-Wizard, and tombstone not too high, not too low. It does a good job at wrapping up this Mega Knight. I almost called it the Mega Minion. But yeah, no hits. We're in a pretty good situation here. The bridge spam is definitely annoying, but you've got to choose what to sack and what not to sack. So I believe he went Bandit here. He has it selected. I don't remember exactly what he did. I wanted to be careful going Lava because it's Bandit in the back. I thought the best play here was for me to just probably Lava in the back. because what else am I going to do there? I need to save the evolved barbs, and also I think that was just a good play there. I decided to sack the bandit as well because I, again, need to save the evolved barbs for his ram and his mega knight. And so I decided to go evolve the barbs here, and I believe mega minion as well. That was the play I was attempting to do. We do take out his mega knight. See, the whole thing there is it's not going to get me good damage, but it's going to force all of the elixir out of my opponent, and his mega knight is out. So now the biggest threat to me is off the field, and I don't have to worry about the Mega Knight. So that's why that was a really good play for me. We arrows here to kill the ghost and make sure that we can wrap up the bandit. And so even though I didn't get much damage on that push, it was important to make sure that I got the Mega Knight out of my opponent's hand, because if I make him uncomfortable and Mega Knight in situations where he probably doesn't want to, like we can force out his Mega Knight, that's really good. So like here he's playing the Mega Knight at his own will. But there we forced it out in an uncomfortable position. That is the only way I think we wouldn't have taken more damage in single. So I decided to go tombstone. It's going to pop up this royal ghost, allow me to kill it before it gets any hits on the tombstone. Mega minion plus tombstone wraps up this Mega Knight, and the tombstone is still alive, which is kind of dope. We are back to evolved barbs, which is important to play your barbs sometimes, even when you might not want to, so that you can get back to evolved barbs. I decided to go evolve the barbs here because they're going to wrap up the Ram Rider. They're so good. And here we go with the, I believe Zap, yeah, Zap, then Skelly Drags. I believe we went with Drags too, right? Maybe we didn't. Maybe we just went with the Barbs. Yeah, because it forced out an E-Wiz from him, so that was good. We wanted to wait on the Drags a second. Yeah, now I remember what I was saying. I wanted to wait on the Drags because if we can force poison out of our opponent, Drags get a ton of value. And even if you don't, if you're not tanking for the Drags, the poison doesn't kill him fast enough to do stuff. So we can force out the poison early, and he tried to get some good value on it, which was weird. Now I know that this guy only has E-Wiz in hand to stop the balloon. We're going to be taking a bandit dash and a couple hits, but it's fine because we're just going to go in with the arrows, take everything out, and end the game. So I hope you can see why I did what I did there. We played sacking things that weren't going to basically take my tower, like that bandit, because sometimes you're not going to be able to defend everything and go in on offense. So there's an important balance of when to play offense and when not to play offense, or when not to play defense. This was one of my most intense games this stream, and this is probably the reason I think arrows was very important to put in the deck. I faced this guy before. I face him once in a while, every once in a while. It's always very rough. He runs a really weird one-trick graveyard deck. Very tough to beat, but we did bring in the arrows. So giant skeleton in the back. Definitely don't want to go with nothing crazy. I did that lava because my tombstone is still going to stay alive to help out against this guy. And the goal here was just to get some good damage or force out something from our opponent. He decides to go with that, so I decided to go drags on his graveyard. The drag spacing actually helps us defend graveyard better because the skeleton dragons rarely ever target the same skeletons, so they usually do some good damage. He's just going to go ahead and arrow here. Pretty good arrow value I gave him. Not the greatest start. I would have preferred to have barbs, but it is what it is. You know, sometimes the dice rolls the way the dice rolls, you know. So Zap was, I believe, just a good play. I mean, I needed to cycle a card anyways, and I knew now that he only had archers. Zappies came out, bats came out, only has archers. Arrows as quick as I could, not quick enough, but pretty quick. I think we might have baited out a freeze if I had arrowed a little bit faster, but I think the arrows getting us those hits was still very nice. So here, we're kind of thinking the same thing, except now we've actually got the hand that I want. We got the barbarians, so we're going to be able to pull this guy, the giant skeleton, over with our tombstone and then barbs on his graveyard. If he freezes, he freezes. We just like go ahead and zap additionally or something like that. So I go barbs here. It's important to go with the barbs as close to the front as you can, so that when he arrows our tombstone, the giant skeleton does not lock onto the tower. That's very important. So as you can see, it did not so much in this situation, but it's just good that the barbs were up high and preventing the giant skeleton from getting close to the tower. So that's why it is important. It wasn't as important there. We just arrowed the archers just because that's the one thing that dies to arrows, so we just arrowed the archers. That's the one thing that's very important. I think it'll come up later in the match if I remember correctly. We placed our barbarians high, might have saved us the game. That's why it's always smart to do that against the giant skeleton, especially because Giant Skeleton's just, it's a game over. It makes it to the tower. So as you can see, I go barbs as high as I can that still defend the graveyard well. And as you can see, the Giant Skeleton gets stuck way before his bomb hits the tower. So now we decide to go arrows once again, I believe, on those archers up there, just to match, make sure my arrows are matching his cycle with the archers. Now he's forced to freeze, but he can't hit those lava pups in front. We go balloon as well. And I believe I cycle to a zap to try and take these bats out. And we do get a death bomb. Unfortunately, probably wasn't the best balloon play, but we do get a death bomb. So maybe it was a good play. I think it was. Because we can't really get counter pushed. I mean, he's going to do the same push every time. Giant Skeleton Graveyard, regardless. So I don't think it's really important to, I guess, save elixir or be careful there. Because basically, hold on, let's go back for a second. Like, he's going to do the same push regardless, so I think being as aggressive as we could and going in with the balloon was a good play there. So I went with the Barbarians low. I told you to go in with them high, but that was because when the Giant Skeleton was down and the Graveyard was coming in, I had plenty of time to get my Barbarians high. And as you can see, we pushed the Giant Skelly back with the Tombstone there, and we were able to secure the dub with, I believe, arrows and the Death Bomb here. He had to cycle back to arrows, but it was not fast enough, so very big W's. But yeah, I placed it low because if you place the barbs low, it makes sure that as they move their way up, they can kill all the skeletons on all sides of the tower when he graveyards. That's why I did that, and because his Giant Skeleton was still pretty high, that we had time for the Barbarians to block the Giant Skeleton from reaching our tower. Now here is the most popular deck in the entire game right now. It is broken, it is boosted, it is just everything. If you need a deck to play with the Firecracker Evolution, this one's it. We're going to actually do a video with a special Hog Rider player, Hog Rider content creator. You may know him, you may not know him, I don't know. We're going to do a collab on this deck. It's going to be really cool because it's just that broken. But yeah, this deck is the reason I put arrows in my deck. We just go barbs on the Hog Rider here. This is just, it's exactly why I played arrows. The arrows are 100% necessary, I feel like, for this matchup. I've beaten it with Fireball, so I won't say that. I've beaten it with Fireball on my mini, but let me just say arrows makes bait and Firecracker matchups so much easier, especially when you can just Fireball zap the evolved Firecracker. It's not like a huge deal. So basically, no lava unless you have barbs. Against this matchup, no lava unless barbs. That's just it. It's it. Because the problem is Mighty Miner dies to EQ. So, the Tombstone dies to EQ. So if he goes Mighty Miner at the bridge, and we only have Tombstone, it's not going to go very well. So we just decided to do this. I don't really have a way to kill a Firecracker right now, but that's going to be okay because it doesn't really matter. We're still going to get some good chip damage. And we did, I believe, evolve the barbs here. And they actually dealt with both the both the Hog Rider and the Mighty Miner. So that was pretty good for me. And as you can see, Firecracker's in the other lane, which is really, really good. I decided to go with Drags, I believe, to make sure we kill this Firecracker and she doesn't come over to the left lane and help deal with our push. I decided, I believe, to just go arrows up top on that Firecracker, just to not let him stack Firecrackers. And just like that, we are up 900 damage. So that was very good. Very, very good. That's why I brought the arrows in, because normally you wouldn't be able to do it with Fireball. But with arrows, it's cheaper to kill the Firecracker and it's faster. So that's very nice. So, oh my god, Vexera, dude. Okay, so I gotta turn on Do Not Disturb, bro. I gotta. So I went Mega Minion, just cycle to a Tombstone really fast. Even though he's EQing it, it's fine. The whole goal is to just make sure that we're stalling it temporarily so the Mega Minion could do work. And he got a little bit of damage over there on the right lane. It is what it is. The right lane was the more healthy lane, so we're fine giving up a little extra damage. And we were just being a little bit careful here, not going with anything crazy until he went with his push. Arrows, I feel like, was good there because it wrapped up the Mighty Miner and... Or not the Mighty Miner, wrapped up the Firecracker, dealt damage to the Mighty Miner, wrapped up the Ice Spirit as well. So that was very good for us. And we decided to go in with a balloon, I believe, because there's no way he's going to stop it without using Bomb Tower. And he doesn't have his next Firecracker in cycle. Evolved barbs came down. They're going to shred the hog even faster than normal barbs, which is awesome. And we were able to steal the game just like this. Stay tuned for the videos coming. There's many more matchups versus this deck with him having evolved Firecracker and me having Fireball, which is much more difficult, but we still managed to get very nice dubs. Hope you learned a little bit from this video. Try out this deck if you do have Barbarian Evolutions. Let me know what you think, and have a great rest of your day.